It's at this time of year, isn't it, that we get to look back at things, the big things that have shaped our year, the things that matter to us. And then, of course, the mainstream media decides to look at things where who's done what, who's worked the hardest, that sort of stuff. And it always makes me smile when when they look at the royals and say they were the hardest working royal. It's all about time, isn't it? What time you can give, what your diary's like, and what are the commitments that you have. Over the last few years, the Princess Royal, Princess Anne, has always come out on tops. But let's not forget, she's now got grown-up children, doesn't have that much to do, at home. And I don't mean that awfully, but she's running an office. So that leaves an abundance of time for her to detail her own charitable work. And she does it with a lot of gusto, as we've seen, without fanfare, publicity, never seeking the spotlight, doesn't necessarily care if the media turn up or not. She's there for the charities that matter to her. It was emerged this year that the hardest working royal so far of the last year, which is incredible when you think, is none other than our brand new king, King Charles III. And as I told you before in a previous video, I thought he worked incredibly hard following the sad demise of his mother and our wonderful monarch, Queen Elizabeth II. I mean, for a man of his age to have such stamina is incredible, really. And when you meet him up close, you can feel his energy, he really is one of these people that is blessed with an abundance of energy. I wish he'd give me some, Do you know what I mean? You can genuinely feel it. But apparently the least hardest working royal of 2022 is none other than this lady, our beautiful Princess of Wales, Catherine, who allegedly only turned around, should we say, 90 engagements. But as ever, there's always crossed swords with the mainstream media. Let me explain. That's right, 90 engagements of those that we saw. But what a lot of people don't now counter in, and this is the bigger thing, a lot of the royals do a lot of work behind the scenes, particularly personal phone calls and Zoom chats. But because they're not put in the court circular, which is normally, featured every day in the British newspaper, The Times, you can find it online. Now, for those that don't know, the court circular gives a list of events of who attended what in the royal family and at what time in the venue and where. They have to be careful, of course, to leak too much out because of security, as one can imagine, and that costs even more money because then they have to do visits in advance to make sure that it's truly secure. But the court circular is the thing that you need to see if you want to know where your favourite royals are appearing on that day, that week, etc. I do think it's a little bit unfair for Catherine to get sort of blighted like this, because let's not forget, as I say, we see her doing a lot of work online, personal phone calls, Zooms. She is, of course, a mum to 3 young children under 10. As any mum out there knows, not an easy feat. Yes, she has a lot of help. She lives in a palace. I get all of that, but it's still not easy. There's school runs, school children, school work, all of that sort of stuff. So I don't know about you, but given the fact that she's just given us so much pleasure with that wonderful Together at Christmas concert, wouldn't it be nice if the media were a little bit kinder, cut a little bit slack? And normally, as I say, it tends to be female writers that attack other women. And I always find this baffling. Where's the sisterhood? I don't know about you. Do you think Catherine has been underworked this year with simply 90 engagements? Or have you been thrilled and, absolutely delighted to see her at the engagements that she's undertaken? Do let me know, as ever, in the comments below. Neil Sean in the very heart of London.